How we doing, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Couch Warriors movie review. I'm Daniel and you're about to be enlightened as always. Today we're going to be discussing probably the worst disaster that has ever struck the earth, and that would be the Phantom Menace, also known as Star Wars Episode 1. Now I know a lot of you people are probably saying, well, this movie had Darth Maul and his double-bladed lightsaber and that was really cool. Well, yeah, it was really cool, but the other 98% sucked. I mean, I don't even know how to, it was like every time I watched the movie, I almost wanted to pay a microtransaction just to see if it would make it any better. That's how bad it was. So the movie is based around the young life of Anakin Skywalker, which everybody knows grows up to be Vader one day. But he's this innocent little kid who lives on Tatooine with his mother. Now, apparently the father of Anakin Skywalker is not a physical being, it's just the Force, or at least what they want you to believe. So he is considered the most powerful Force user of the time and maybe the most powerful that has ever existed. And he is the one that's going to bring balance to the Force according to the ancient Jedi prophecy that was written in the Declaration of Independence. Anywho, Obi-Wan, who's younger, he's probably, I don't know, I would guess he's about 21, 22, and Qui-Gon Jinn start off this film on a separatist, they start off on a separatist frigate, and they're there to be diplomacy, because the Jedi, they just oh, we don't fight anything unless it fights us first, unless it pisses us off, and then we'll wipe out a whole village. But they didn't ever think about that. Anyway, they're on this separatist ship, and they're going to have this diplomatic meeting. Little do they know, it's like an assassination attempt. They sit in all these droids. They're like, really, bro? And they just blink and all the droids are dead. So they get off this ship and they wake their way down to Naboo, which is being invaded by the Separatists, also called the Trade Federation. As they're running down on Naboo, they come across this young Gungan and maybe the worst thing in the history of history named Jar Jar Binks. Well, Jar Jar's an idiot, so he's running straight at the Trade Federation cruisers instead of away from them. So they end up saving his life, and he's like, "We so safe, you so we take you to city, and we get army and we fight the droids." But anyway, they end up following him into the ancient Gungan city that's underground. And what they find out is everybody's scared of Jar Jar because the dude's a blithering idiot, and he's blown up half the city in his lifetime, because I don't know what kind of curse this man has on it. I don't know if he stepped on a crack in the mall because he was texting. I don't understand it, but the guy's an idiot. There's no other way to describe it. He's a lovable idiot, but he's still an idiot. They get down there, and Boss Nasty's "I will not help you." I can't make this stuff up. That's exactly how he sounds. And so Obi-Wan, he's "You will help us," and Boss Nasty's "Yeah, I'll help you, because the Force, guys, it doesn't have to make sense, that's just what happens." Qui-Gon Jinn, he bored him and the princess, which is Padme, everybody knows is Anakin's future secret wife. Yeah, put that on the Bachelorette. They're trying to get away from Naboo. Well, of course they can't get through the blockade of the Separatists. I don't know why they didn't think this out better. I mean, they're on this tiny ship the size of a Ford Focus up against the ship the size of an aircraft carrier. And they take heavy damage to their engines and hull. Well, R2-D2 makes his first appearance, and he's able to repair the hull enough where they're able to get to Tatooine safely and land. Well, when they get there, Qui-Gon's I feel a disturbance in the Force. So he finds Anakin and his mama. Anakin is a slave to this little, I don't know, he looks like a dragonfly crossed with an anteater's crossed with a praying mantis. And he's got a real weird name Dunga de Umangata or something like that. And he's a slave trader. Well, he owns Anakin and his mama. Well, they end up making a bet that if Anakin can win the next big pod race that they have every year, then he will let Anakin free, but not his mama. So, manipulation in the Force, some more antics. Anakin ends up winning the pod race, and he gets to leave and go train to be a Jedi. Well, they decide that they're going to try to take back Naboo, so they conjure up this secret force, and they have all like all the royal guards, they get on these ships, these land speeders, and they attack the capital. Little do the separatists know, the Gungans are marching on the capital. Well, you got two battles that are simultaneously taking place. You got the Gungans fighting the separatists, which honestly I thought it was pretty cool, those bubble shields that they had, because otherwise like the droids would have like, it was almost like having a US soldier fight like pygmies with rocks. That was the difference in technology, except for those shields that the Gungans have. They're able to hold them off while a squadron Naboo starfighters attacks the separatist control ship, which is in space. Well, Anakin, he like a bunch of more tomfoolery. He locks himself in a Naboo starfighter because why not? This whole movie is just one big why not. And he goes up into space and is helping them fight him. He gets shot down, lands in a hangar. I don't know how the guy didn't crash. He lands in the hangar. He's in the hangar. He ends up shooting the central terminal, like the central life support system. He just happens to be in front of it and blows it up. The whole ship starts collapsing in on itself. So Anakin gets out, and some more tomfoolery. All of a sudden his ship works. Just out of nowhere, his ship just, plot holes, boys, plot holes. His ship starts working. He's able to get out. The command ship blows up. All the droids down on Naboo, they all deactivate because that's like, they're all controlled from that ship. I don't know who designed this, but they're all controlled from that ship. So they take over Naboo. They capture the capital and everything's all hunky-dory again. Well, meanwhile, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are running distraction. They're fighting Darth Maul. Now, Darth Maul, which many believe to be the only cool part of the movie, is like the first, or at least the first that I know of, apprentice of Darth Sidious, also known as Chancellor Palpatine. Well, he gets in a fight with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and they're trying to hold him off. And they're doing pretty good considering he's a Sith Lord and he's like extremely trained, extremely good shape. He's on the dark side of the Force. The dude's like a witch of Dathomir on top of that, so he's already got these magical abilities. He's OP. He ends up killing Qui-Gon off like this freak thing. He stabs him like right above his pelvis, and like Qui-Gon is sitting there. He's not exactly bleeding out because the lightsaber kind of cauterizes your insides because it's so hot. But he's sitting there just like dying. Darth Maul wipes the floor with Obi-Wan. He knocks him off the ledge. Obi-Wan loses his lightsaber. He's sitting there. Darth Maul's like toying with him. He can kill him at any time. But of course, why not? I'm just going to sit here and toy with him. And so like Obi-Wan, he conjures up the Force. He's able to pull Qui-Gon's lightsaber off his belt. He jumps in there, does this triple backflip that would have won the gold medal in the Olympics, lands and slices Darth Maul in half. Now, just a spoiler alert, because if you don't want to see the spoiler, then you're going to want to skip the next 10 seconds of the video. Okay? Well, you've been warned. Darth Maul does not die. If you actually watch the Clone Wars series that comes out a few years later on Cartoon Network, he actually comes back to life. Don't ask me how, but he did. Obi-Wan goes to the body of his fallen master, and Qui-Gon says in his dying breath, "You must promise me you'll train the boy," talking about Anakin. Master Yoda and Master Windu, which are like the two heads of the Jedi Temple, Jedi Academy, whatever you want to call it. We'll call it a temple. Jedi Temple. They don't want to train Anakin because one, he's like 10 or 11. I don't remember if they specify that or not, but he's like 10 or 11. He's already kind of old for a Jedi youngling, but he's so powerful in the Force, they just like, he's got darkness in his heart, but once again, why not? So, plot holes. So, the end of the movie is them burning Obi-Wan's body, Qui-Gon Jinn's body, and he said, Obi-Wan looks over at him, he says, "You will be trained in the arts of the Jedi." The end of the movie is like the Gungans, they're like marching down the Gungan army city, and like they hand Boss Nass, like the leadership of Naboo hands Boss Nass like this big glowing orb. I don't know, it looked like something conjured up by Goku or something, like a Kamehameha wave and like an orb. I don't know what it was, it's just an orb. They never specified what it was. And like the end of the movie is him holding it over his head. it was a real cluster, honestly. The movie was poorly made. It was more of a comedy. I mean, they had 20 years to make a new Star Wars movie, and that's the best they came up with. I mean, the other two weren't much better. They got progressively better, but they were all a cluster. But those will be covered in another review. Like, subscribe, comment, and share all of our stuff on all your social media platforms. Join us on another episode of Couch Warriors. I'm Daniel. We'll see you later.